Cedric Diggory. Cedric is killed in the Goblet of Fire moments after he and Harry grab the Triwizard Cup, which has been turned into a port key. They are transported to a graveyard where Voldemort is waiting. Peter Pettigrew, acting on Voldemort's orders, uses the Avada Kedavra curse to execute Cedric. The curse is instantaneous and leaves no visible wounds, but Cedric's death is abrupt, cruel, and meaningless, which adds a psychological dimension to its brutality. He dies with no time to defend himself or understand what's happening. The emotional violence of being murdered as a bystander makes this one of the most senseless deaths in the series. Sirius Black. In the Order of the Phoenix, Sirius dies during the battle in the Department of Mysteries. He is hit by a curse cast by Bellatrix Lestrange. The exact spell is not named, but it knocks him off balance and causes him to fall through a magical archway known as the Veil, a one-way passage between life and death. The death appears bloodless and silent, but the agony lies in its finality. The Veil is an irreversible magical boundary, and once Sirius crosses it, he is gone forever. The pain in this death is emotional and metaphysical, marked by confusion, shock, and the helplessness of his godson Harry, who watches it happen but cannot intervene. Albus Dumbledore. Dumbledore dies in The Half-Blood Prince after a chain of deteriorating health and calculated planning. Earlier in the book, he puts on a cursed ring, one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, that infects his body with dark magic. Snape slows the curse, but it leaves Dumbledore with limited time. Later, in the cave where he retrieves a fake locket Horcrux, Dumbledore drinks a potion that causes intense hallucinations, physical torment, and overwhelming thirst. Back at Hogwarts, he is disarmed by Draco Malfoy but ultimately killed by Severus Snape using the Avada Kedavra curse. Though the spell is not painful, Dumbledore's death is the culmination of prolonged suffering, poisoning, and fatal sacrifice. His body falls from the Astronomy Tower and is later entombed on Hogwarts grounds. Hedwig. Hedwig is killed during the escape from Privet Drive in the Deathly Hallows. While flying in her cage beside Harry's broomstick, she is hit by a killing curse during a chaotic ambush by Death Eaters. The curse likely comes from a stray enemy wand and kills her instantly. Hedwig's death is physically quick but emotionally sharp. She is caged, defenseless, and dies without a chance to escape. The symbolism of her death, representing the loss of Harry's innocence and the end of his childhood, amplifies the tragedy. Her body falls from the sky as the group continues flying, forced to leave her behind. Alastair Mad Eye Moody. Mad Eye Moody is also killed during the flight from Privet Drive in the same battle that kills Hedwig. As the most battle-hardened member of the Order of the Phoenix, he is paired with Mundungus Fletcher, who panics and disapparates mid-fight. This leaves Moody exposed. He is struck with a killing curse, likely cast by Voldemort himself. While the spell causes instant death, Moody's vulnerability and abandonment make the moment grim. His body is never recovered, but his magical eye is later found embedded in Umbridge's office door at the Ministry of Magic, an act of desecration that further emphasizes the dishonor and cruelty surrounding his end. Charity Burbage. Charity Burbage, the Muggle Studies professor at Hogwarts, is executed in the opening chapter of the Deathly Hallows. She is suspended in midair above the table at Malfoy Manor, held captive and pleading for her life. Voldemort mocks her belief in Muggle equality, calling her ideology dangerous. She begs Severus Snape, seated at the table, to help her, unaware he is committed to maintaining his cover. Voldemort kills her with the Avada Kedavra curse, and her body drops onto the table. Though the spell is quick, the pain lies in her humiliation, helplessness, and betrayal, culminating in her corpse being fed to Nagini, Voldemort's snake, as a demonstration of control and disregard for human dignity. Rufus Scrimgeour. Rufus Scrimgeour, who replaces Cornelius Fudge as Minister for Magic, is murdered after the ministry falls to Voldemort's regime. His death happens off-page but is described through character dialogue. Scrimgeour is tortured for information about Harry Potter's whereabouts and refuses to cooperate. Despite being a flawed politician, he meets his end protecting the boy he publicly distrusted. The nature of his torture is not detailed, but given the Death Eater's brutality, it implies prolonged magical and physical torment before execution. The pain here is both literal and symbolic. He dies resisting tyranny, though powerless to stop it. Gellert Grindelwald. Grindelwald, once the most powerful dark wizard before Voldemort, is killed in the Deathly Hallows after decades of imprisonment in his own fortress, Nurmengard. Voldemort seeks him out, demanding the location of the Elder Wand. Grindelwald, now regretful of his past actions, refuses to cooperate. He taunts Voldemort and calls him a fool. In response, Voldemort kills him, almost certainly using the Avada Kedavra curse. The act is swift, but it follows years of isolation, defeat, and reflection. Grindelwald's refusal to betray the wand's secret adds depth to his death, suggesting that he chooses to die with honor even while facing Voldemort's wrath. Gregorovitch, Mikhail Gregorovitch, a European wand maker, is murdered by Voldemort in the Deathly Hallows as part of the search for the Elder Wand. Voldemort breaks into his home, invades his mind using legilimency, and extracts the memory of the wand's theft by a young Gellert Grindelwald decades earlier. Gregorovitch is terrified, pleading for mercy. Voldemort responds with Avada Kedavra, killing him instantly. While the curse is not physically painful, the fear and helplessness Gregorovitch experiences are palpable. His death is transactional, used merely as a tool for Voldemort's pursuit of power, stripping him of dignity and ending his life in a state of panic. Bathilda Bagshot. Bathilda's death occurs off-page in the Deathly Hallows, but its aftermath is grotesque. The historian of magical history is murdered by Voldemort or Nagini, and her body is used as a host for the snake. Hermione and Harry visit her home in Godric's Hollow, only to discover the truth too late. The reanimated corpse speaks through Nagini and Parseltongue, lures Harry upstairs, and launches a violent attack. While the actual cause of death is unknown, the defilement of Bathilda's corpse, used as a decaying shell for an ambush, makes this one of the most disturbing sequences in the series. The horror comes from the unnatural use of her body, not just her death. Dobby. Dobby dies in the Deathly Hallows while rescuing Harry and his friends from Malfoy Manor. During the escape, Bellatrix Lestrange throws a knife that strikes Dobby as he disapparates with the group to Shell Cottage. The knife lodges in his chest. Dobby collapses on the sand, bleeding heavily. Despite magical healing attempts, he dies in Harry's arms, his final words being, "Such a beautiful place to be with friends." His death is slow enough for him to speak, making it physically painful and emotionally shattering. Dobby dies free, loyal, and brave, but not without agony, sacrifice, and profound sadness. Fred Weasley. Fred is killed during the Battle of Hogwarts in the Deathly Hallows. While fighting alongside his brother Percy in a corridor near the Room of Requirement, Fred is caught in a sudden explosion caused by a Death Eater's curse. The specific spell is never named, but the impact is lethal and instantaneous. His body is later described as having an expression of joy frozen on his face, as he had been laughing moments before. Although the spell may have killed him immediately, the physical violence of the explosion suggests his death was not clean. The emotional weight of the loss, particularly for his twin brother George, turns this moment into one of the most devastating in the series. Remus Lupin. Remus dies during the Battle of Hogwarts. His death is not described in real time, but confirmed afterward. He is said to have been killed by Antonin Dolohov, a known Death Eater, likely in a high-level duel. The spell used is never identified, and his body is later found lying peacefully beside Tonks. While the peaceful positioning implies a quick death, the context, a chaotic, brutal battle, suggests it could have followed significant magical combat. Lupin's death carries emotional pain as well, coming just after he finds happiness with Tonks and becomes a father to newborn Teddy, who is left orphaned by the war. Nymphadora Tonks. Tonks is killed in the same battle shortly after Lupin, likely by her aunt Bellatrix Lestrange. Like Lupin, her death is off-page and confirmed only when Harry sees her lifeless body. The manner of death is unknown, but Bellatrix is known for her ruthlessness, and previous duels, such as her killing of Sirius, suggest she does not hold back. The absence of detail makes the death no less painful. Tonks dies searching for Lupin, leaving their son behind. Her death mirrors the cost of war, abrupt, cruel, and indifferent to love or timing. Colin Creevey. Colin Creevey dies during the Battle of Hogwarts despite being underage and initially removed from the grounds for his safety. He sneaks back into the castle to fight alongside Harry and the other defenders. His body is later recovered by Neville Longbottom and Oliver Wood. The specific cause of death is not described, but given the chaos of the battle and Colin's lack of advanced training, it likely came from a lethal curse or physical blow during combat. The pain lies in the circumstances. Colin dies trying to help, outmatched but brave. As a younger student, his death underscores the indiscriminate cost of the war and the tragic loss of innocence. Severus Snape. Snape is killed in the Shrieking Shack during the climax of the Deathly Hallows. Voldemort, believing Snape is the master of the Elder Wand, orders Nagini to kill him. The snake is encased in a magical barrier and repeatedly strikes Snape, mauling his neck and leaving him bleeding to death. The attack is savage, direct, and unquestionably painful. Snape is left gasping on the floor, unable to speak until Harry collects his memories. His final moments are marked by extreme physical suffering and emotional release, as he asks Harry to look into his eyes, Lily Potter's eyes, while he dies. It is one of the most violent and symbolic deaths in the series. Lord Voldemort. Voldemort dies in the final duel in the Great Hall of Hogwarts. During his confrontation with Harry, he casts Avada Kedavra at the same moment Harry uses Expelliarmus. Because Harry is the true master of the Elder Wand, Voldemort's curse rebounds on him. The spell strikes him directly, killing him in front of both allies and enemies. Unlike other uses of Avada Kedavra, this death has no ceremony or grandeur. His body lies lifeless on the floor. Though the spell is designed to be painless, Voldemort's death is the culmination of soul fragmentation, magical failure, and the final rejection of his belief in power without love. He dies alone, defeated by the very wand he sought to control. If you're wondering why Avada Kedavra seemed to act so differently across all these deaths, from instant collapse to soul-splitting chaos, you're not alone. The killing curse doesn't always work the way you'd expect. In fact, it's shown behaving very differently throughout the Harry Potter series. To understand why and which rules the curse breaks or follows, depending on who casts it, who it hits, and what magic surrounds it. Watch. Every time Avada Kedavra behaved differently in Harry Potter. Explained in detail.